Thunder cracked over Willow Creek, a gated suburb where every hedge was trimmed to perfection and every mailbox gleamed. But tonight, the manicured calm shattered. A shout sharp, furious gut through the humid air, drawing neighbors to their windows. On the porch of a tidy colonial, Marcus Lee, a retired prosecutor in an electric wheelchair, faced Eleanor Price, the HOA president whose pastel smile hid a vendetta. Her clipboard trembled in her grip, her voice shrill. "You think you can defy me, Marcus? This is my community." Marcus's eyes, honed by decades in courtrooms, didn't waver. "Eleanor," he said, his tone ice-cold, "you're about to learn what happens when you break the law." The storm broke, rain lashing the cul-de-sac, but the real tempest was just beginning. Marcus, 59, had spent 30 years as a district attorney, dismantling criminal empires with a blend of grit and legal precision. A car accident 2 years ago stole his ability to walk long distances, forcing him to rely on an electric wheelchair. He'd chosen Willow Creek for its quiet paths and promise of peace, but peace was impossible with Eleanor Price, a woman who wielded HOA bylaws like a dictator's scepter. From the day Marcus arrived, she targeted him, her obsession with control clashing with his unyielding resolve. It started with the ramp. Built to code and city-approved, it allowed Marcus to access his home. Eleanor, however, saw it as a blight on Willow Creek's aesthetic unity. Her first notice, slipped under his door in a peach envelope, cited a vague bylaw about structural modifications. Marcus, ever the lawyer, fired back with a letter quoting the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. The ramp stayed. Undeterred, Eleanor turned to his adaptive garden-raised beds of herbs and flowers designed for wheelchair access. She claimed they violate landscaping uniformity, a rule she seemed to invent on the spot. Marcus ignored her, but her scrutiny intensified, her gaze a constant presence from her pristine lawn across the street. The real battle ignited over his wheelchair. Willow Creek's cobblestone paths were Marcus's lifeline, connecting him to the community center where he played chess and taught free legal clinics. But Eleanor declared the wheelchair an unauthorized vehicle. One sweltering afternoon, as Marcus glided down a path, she appeared, clipboard in hand, her voice syrupy with menace. "Mr. Lee, these are walking paths. Motorized VYCs aren't allowed." Marcus adjusted his glasses, his calm belying his irritation. "This is a mobility VYC, Eleanor, protected under federal law. You're welcome to check the ADA." Her smile tightened. "Rules are rules, Marcus. You'll see." She stormed off, her heels clicking like a countdown to war. Eleanor's campaign escalated. She sent notices accusing his wheelchair of Leah VY-ing tire marks on sidewalks of fabrication. Marcus debunked with photos. Then came fines. Dulaw 54 wheelchair noise, though it was nearly silent. Dulaw 75 for obstructing pathways when he paused to greet a neighbor. Marcus paid nothing, instead filing complaints with the HOA board, each backed by legal citations. His years as a DA had taught him to build cases like fortresses, and he wasn't about to let Eleanor's petty tyranny prevail. She didn't stop. Eleanor called an emergency HOA meeting to propose banning motorized vehicles in common areas, a sly attempt to sidestep disability laws. The community center buzzed as neighbors filled the seats, sensing a showdown. Eleanor, at the podium, spoke of preserving our community's charm. Marcus rolled forward, his presence commanding. "This proposal violates the ADA, he said, his voice steady. Mobility to VYCs aren't vehicles. They're extensions of a person's body, restricting them in VYTES lawsuits." He cited Barton v. City of Sacramento, his memory razor sharp. The room stirred. A retired teacher, Clara, stood and applauded, sparking murmurs of support. Eleanor's face flushed. "We'll consult legal counsel," she muttered, adjourning the meeting. That night, in the parking lot, Eleanor cornered him. Rain glistened on her blazer, her voice low and venomous. "You think you're clever, Marcus? This is my domain. You'll regret crossing me." He met her gaze. "I've faced worse than you, Eleanor. Keep pushing, and you'll lose." Her harassment grew bolder. She photographed his wheelchair, logged his movements, and sent absurd violation notices. His porch light was too bright, his mailbox misaligned. Marcus documented every thingamails, fines, timestamps knowing she'd overreach. His instincts, honed by years of prosecuting criminals, told him to wait for her fatal mistake. It came on a stormy Monday. Marcus woke to find his wheelchair dead, its controls unresponsive. He called a repair tech, expecting a glitch. The tech, a gruff man named Leo, examined it and frowned. "Someone tampered with this, Mr. Lee. The battery wires are cut and the control board's fried." This was deliberate. Marcus's stomach churned. His wheelchair was his independence. Without it, he was stranded, vulnerable. Eleanor's face flashed in his mind, but he needed proof. His front door camera didn't cover the charging station, but his neighbor, Sophie Delgado, had a security system installed after recent vandalism. Sophie, a single mother who'd clashed with Eleanor over her son's basketball hoop, was eager to help. "Marcus, you've got to see this," Sophie said, pulling up the footage. The video was damning. Eleanor, in a dark jacket, creeping onto Marcus's property at 2:03 a.m. with a small bag. She moved toward the charging station, vanished for 7 minutes, then hurried away, glancing nervously around. Fury surged through Marcus, but he stayed calm. This was no longer HOA nonsense. Seat was criminal. He called the police, pro-VYing the footage and Leo's report. Officer Ruiz, who knew Marcus from his DA days, was grim. "This could be a hate crime, Mr. Lee, given your disability and the deliberate sabotage. We'll bring MS. Price in." Marcus went further. He emailed the HOA board, attaching the video and a detailed account of Eleanor's harassment, citing ADA violations and the association's legal exposure. MS. "Price's actions are criminal," he wrote. "I expect her immediate removal as president." The response was swift. By evening, 2 board members called to apologize, promising to act. The next morning, as Willow Creek's garden club gathered, police cars rolled up to Eleanor's house. Neighbors watched, stunned, as she was let out in handcuffs. "This is a mistake," she shrieked. "I'm the president. I keep this place perfect." Her protests faded as the car door slammed. The charges were serious: trespassing, criminal mischief, property damage over due law 1000, and reckless endangerment of a disabled persona felony. Marcus, wary of bias, requested a special prosecutor from another county. The case moved fast. Sophie's footage was ironclad, and Marcus's records showed Eleanor's motive. At trial, her lawyer claimed she was overzealous about community standards, but the prosecutor, a sharp woman named Tara Lynn, tore through the defense. MS. Price targeted a disabled man, endangered his safety, and broke the law, she told the jury. The guilty verdict came in hours. In court, Judge Ellison, who'd worked with Marcus years ago, was stern. MS. Price, you abuse your authority and violate the rights of a vulnerable person. He sentenced her to 18 months in prison, 3 years of probation, a DULA 12,000 fine, and 300 hours of community service at a disability center. As Eleanor was led away, her defiance crumbled. Her eyes, once sharp with malice, were hollow. Marcus watched, feeling no triumph, only closure. Justice wasn't about gloating, it was about righting wrongs. Willow Creek transformed. Clara became HOA president, revising bylaws to ensure accessibility. Marcus resumed his chess games and clinics, his garden thriving. Late at night, on his porch, the hum of his wheelchair grounded him. He'd won, not with anger, but with truth the weapon Eleanor could never match. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.